Not gonna happen. You're never gonna catch a burp again. Hola, ¿cómo estás?
¿Qué tal, mi carnal?
Bien. ¿Y tú?
No hay bronca, güey. Pinche bueno.
I don't know that. I was just thinking it'd be funny to do some like basic Spanish since it's Cinco de Mayo.
Órale, güey. No seas un güero a la verga.
Oh, muy bien, I guess. Happy Cinco de Mayo?
Güeros pendejos. Hijo de puta.
No lo sé.
I was like responding kindly in Spanish, but you kind of ruined the bit. I guess happy May 5th, Gringo Joto.
Acabas de iniciar sesión en el 3-Bit Gamer Show. Welcome to the 3-Bit Gamer Show. I'm JD.
Este es Peterson.
And we're going international.
I'm just going to mix in Mexican slang
yeah,
throughout.
You guys love it.
That's 90% of the Spanish I know. My kids ask me, they're like, hey, how do you say this in Spanish? And I was like, I know how to say swear words. I worked at a lot of restaurants and they thought it was funny.
Restaurant Spanish.
The Mexican guys, and it's just, I only know Mexican Spanish. Any other country, they're like, oh, you're speaking Mexican Spanish? Because I'm like, I don't know. I just
Mexican
know swear
restaurant
words.
Spanish.
Yeah, that's it. I know bad words and phrases, and I know I'd get a good laugh every time.
Dude, who said you can't learn life skills in a restaurant?
I learned a lot.
Live from the 3-Bit Gamer Show, the news. All right, it's the news, and it's brought to us by Crave Cookies.
Crave!
There we go. Then this is the part where I tell you we all find out together what JD's going to be doing this week. Just live on this podcast. Crave Cookies is this amazing cookie shop. You go to cravecookies.com and you can follow along with us here. But they have a rotating weekly menu, new cookies every single week. It's just wild.
Wait, have you had the cookie?
I made the cookie, dude.
Is it good? I want it. I
haven't tried it. It just looks so stupid. I'm sorry. It looks stupid. I make it and I look at it like, what a dumb thing. And then I sell it to a customer.
Dude, I think people like them, though.
Yeah, no, people are way into them. You slice open a croissant. You put a half a cookie in the middle of it and a half a cookie on top. You squish it all together and toss it in the oven for 9 minutes. And it comes out looking exactly like it sounds like. It's like a croissant ate a cookie, and then in the process of eating that cookie, one of the cookie's friends, another cookie, jumped on the croissant to avenge his friend, and then that whole mess got shoved in an oven, and it was preserved not unlike like a dinosaur in a tar pit, and then you serve that and sell it for an extra $1.
I'm sad you didn't eat one, though. I really wanted to hear it.
It just seems so stupid. I think I sold one to my dad, so maybe he could review it for me.
I can picture JD smuggling cookies out the back door and then being like, hey, Dad, here's what I got.
Half price, dude. Employee discount, dude.
Anyway, sorry.
I'll hook it up. So we've got new cookies every Friday. And you can wait till Friday, or you can tune to this podcast on Tuesday. And you can prepare your whole week. You can decide, do I want to come in on Thursday? Or do I want to come in on Friday for the new menu? You have the best of both worlds here. Most people just find out on the fly. They walk in and they're like, oh, you don't have this anymore? And I'm like, should have listened to the podcast, bitch. What are you doing? He hands
him a 3-Bit Gamer Show card. He's like, check it out.
Trent calls me. He's like, dude, I saw you doing that on the cameras. You got to stop doing that.
It's like, people want to know, Trent. The people want to know.
Spreading the good word. So you can go to cravecookies.com right now, and you will be able to see their current menu. But I will tell you, I will spoil for you the menu that's coming up next week. So we've got this month the peanut butter cup, which is like it's like a peanut butter cookie. It's got a bunch of peanut butter and then crushed up Butterfinger bits or Butterfinger bars in it.
Oh, I kind of.
And then you squish Reese's peanut butter cup in the middle of that.
Okay, I'm in for that.
Bake that bitch. So that's our monthly cookie. That's every day this month. But we've also got coming up the Samoa,
That's a good one.
the baked butter beer,
Actually, I haven't had that one.
the Eclair. Oh no. Oh no.
Oh, that's the one with the shiny top, right?
No, how am I gonna make this thing? And then the last one is the chocolate cupcake.
Okay.
Which sounds dope.
Always good.
Yeah, just a solid cold cookie. But man, that Eclair, that sounds dope. It's just gonna be a pain in the ass to make.
It's good.
Dang,
I
next
remember
week
right.
is
It's
crazy.
good.
If you guys are listening to this though, you should go down this week because the lemon bar's out. And I made it, and it's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy compared to literally every other cookie I've made working there for like 4 months. Like, honest to God, it is so wild. So you should go get yourself a lemon bar cookie and experience that, what that's like. Because it's better than a lemon bar. Lemon bars are pretty mid for me.
Shots fired. I like super lemony, though.
It's lemony, dude. It has lemon. Okay, it has 1.5 cups of lemon juice in it. And it has, I believe, 3 tablespoons of lemon extract on top of that.
Ooh, okay.
That's fucking lemony, dude.
Okay. I mean,
so go to cravecookies.com, go to Crave Cookies, the store, go on DoorDash or get the app. They have an app. There's a Crave Cookies app.
I didn't know that.
Or come in the store and make a catering order. And apparently we'll just make you 50 little cookies of any.
I do want those little.
Any cookie. I'm doing that. That's all I'm doing tomorrow. Some lady came and placed a huge fat 300 of those fucking things. 5 different flavors. That's on top of all the other things we need to make. Wow. It's going to be a whack day. You can just do that. You can just come in and make any cookie you want. Just like 50 of them. Just do it. Go to Crave Cookies.
I'm going to do it, and then I'm not going to pay for it. I'm going to run out. I'm going to hate it.
Tackle your ass. I will curb stomp you, Cookie Monster style. That's why I put your mouth on a cookie and just kick you in the back of the head.
Eat it. Like, I don't know, I'm confused. This hurts, but it also tastes delicious.
This hurts so good. All right. Go to Crave Cookies and get your cookie on. People didn't like Starfield because it was too different. Quote, too different.
I saw this and I was like,
Todd Howard's awesome.
Does he not understand what people did? Like, he's like, oh, you guys just don't like video games that are different than, like, there are other video games, Mr. Howard, that people enjoy.
Look, dude, this is Todd Howard running his mouth because, so he's talking on the Kind of Funny podcast and he says, quote, we see a lot of players saying, this is what I want out of a Bethesda game, which is to explore a world in a certain way. And Starfield did give me that. I prefer the way it's done in Fallout or Elder Scrolls. So he's saying Starfield wasn't Skyrim in space, and that's why people didn't like it.
Yeah, that's true.
That's kind of true. That's what people fucking wanted. And I guess the reason I said he's running his mouth here is because I feel like that's not why. I feel like they tried to make it that, and they couldn't. They found they didn't have the capability, the management, the production skills. I don't know what happened there. In between Fallout 4, which also wasn't like an incredible game, but it was very much passable.
Like it was,
and then Fallout 76 to Starfield, and how they continuously went downhill with these titles. And like what he said, what people expect, because, and this is kind of the crux of my argument here, Todd Howard knows what Bethesda fans want. Todd Howard was an executive producer on the Fallout TV show. Todd Howard stood up for everything that Fallout fans wanted. To some very big name producers and creators in Jonathan Nolan and Lisa Joy, and insisted and made certain that this series was something that reflected what fans like. So he knew better.
Like, it wasn't an accident. Like the magic of Fallout's not an accident.
Yeah.
Like, he knows what gets it there. And I think what's crazy about this is he's like, yeah, you guys just didn't like it just because it wasn't exactly the same. Like, that, I think people are okay with that. People have played games that are not exactly the same. The problem was it was monotonous, repetitive, and there are space games that do it better. And so it was just like, I don't know why. Everyone I know that played it, they played it for 10 to 12 hours and then was like, I'm bored of this game.
Which you should never say with a Bethesda game.
Right. I mean, I have the same friends are playing Skyrim for the, I don't know, 12th time.
Because you're going to find shit you probably haven't seen before. even on your 12th playthrough on Skyrim.
Like, I'm gonna do it as this type of playthrough now, and and so like,
I guess I just feel like Todd Howard knows that they shouldn't have released this. I wish he would admit that. I feel like he's just talking in circles around the real issue, which is like we fucked up and made a bad game because it was rushed, even though we spent 10 years on it and talked about it forever. Because I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what level of mismanagement is going on. I also saw a story that they're gonna try to split into multiple teams to work and get Fallout 5 out the door faster. Then I don't know, because currently Fallout's in line behind the next Elder Scrolls game. And the Elder Scrolls game, like all we've ever seen is a little like splash art at I think like E3 when they
weren't they like
E3.
this is like 2030, like this is
and they're like, yeah, this is gonna happen. And so Fallout 5 will come out after like season 6 of the TV show. That's like the current slate. And so he's like, we're gonna try to speed this up more. But I feel like he doesn't know how to anymore. I worry that they don't know how to make a proper game anymore. And they haven't made one since Skyrim, and it's really concerning. It's like each one is just like a zombie Bethesda game. And like throughout this whole interview on the Kind of Funny podcast, it just seems like he was like really overly positive, which I guess you have to be. That's kind of his gig.
Right.
But I really just wish we for once could see one of these executives at this highest echelon of these companies that really fuck up, take some ownership and be like, oh man, we just bombed it. We just blew it. Like,
I want him to come out and say the truth, which is we fell for the space game folly. We wanted to make a space exploration discovery game, which is impossible.
Right.
You'd have to make it for 30 years because they're always like, oh, you can go to new planets and like you discover new things. Well, that's not true. Like we just don't have the ability to like build a game and make it equitable to build. That is a true space game that you're playing like Star Trek, like a Star Trek movie in space. You're like discovering new worlds and new civilizations and new people. And that's why you go to these different planets and all the missions are the same because they're like too busy building 60 planets.
Yeah.
And like we can't design a new mission for each of them with specific locations built for that planet. So like they fell into the space game folly, which I feel like a lot of the space games do. The ones that are successful keep it within 4 or 5 planets, very designed, smaller levels. They're not like a gigantic.
They're hand built. It's not procedurally generated. And when he says, "Oh, we're going to rush out Fallout 5 and get Elder Scrolls out," that's what I hear. Is we're just going to rely on.
We're going to do like
to get those games out the door faster, so we don't actually have to like hand design anything.
Whereas if you really take some care on the next Elder Scrolls game, like it's gonna make you so much money for so many years, right? I mean, everyone plays Skyrim still, like everyone has it, everyone plays it.
And dude, this seemed to be a vanity project, like Bethesda saying, "Look, we're not just Fallout and Elder Scrolls," and what it actually has proved is they are, in fact, just Elder Scrolls and Fallout.
Because, and like we're okay with that, they need to be okay with that.
Yeah, because the thing is Fallout 76 is still around. People still play the game. It's still getting updates. People are still into it and buy the game. This game, Starfield, will not be Fallout 76. It in a year will be just as forgotten as it is now, if not more so. There's not going to be additional Starfield content. There's not going to be an additional Starfield game. They're never going to make Starfield 2, Starfield 76, or anything remotely in this universe ever again. And so, yeah, they've just proved that this is what they need to stick to, which is what they're good at. And you know what? They kind of turfed it recently on Fallout. And I'm like, maybe you guys need to prove that you can still do even a fucking Fallout game.
I think with the Fallout 4, they tried too hard to do like other stuff, like the building mechanics and stuff again, which we've talked about before, which was fine. But like, spend less time on that. And just like, we love the Fallout world.
Well, that was the problem. Was that stuff wasn't fleshed out enough for it to be worth it. It was like, oh, there's raids and there are all these things, but you're like, oh, the raids are actually really kind of boring and don't happen that often. And when they do, they're not really impactful if they even work.
Right.
And so you're like, well, this whole mechanic you spent so much time building into the game, just like a lot of the aspects of Starfield was for naught. It didn't add to the game, and it just detracted from it when you could have been focused that time and energy hand building some more areas.
Exactly. Like the customized spaceship stuff, like theoretically sounds cool.
There.
But in reality,
But they didn't do it.
Everyone
They didn't
said
execute.
it was like fine. It was
Yep.
like not that exciting. So yeah, don't add that stuff to it. I know you want to do that. It's fun to add that stuff in. Don't do that. Just make a fun single player game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like this is ultimately Todd Howard saying that he's just going to go to Microsoft with a big empty sack and be like, fill this up with money if you want your Fallout game.
Money, please.
Money, please.
Yeah.
Helldivers 2 received over 300,000 negative reviews so far this week due to an update that will require players who bought the game on Steam to open a PSN account. PlayStation Network, that is. So
Sony or PlayStation is the publisher of the game.
Right. And they, what is it? Battle, what is the studio that makes it? You see it every time you open the game.
You think I pay attention to that? Hold on,
Anyway.
let me open it up. I'll show you. Helldivers store page. I'm in there right now. Arrowhead Game Studios.
Game Studios.
Oh my gosh, they're never bouncing back. I just saw the latest reviews.
The developers behind Helldivers 2, they published this game that is, if I'm remembering correctly, the top-selling game of 2024. This is a multiplayer game that feels a lot like Starship Troopers. And
it's a great game. It is a great game. It is so much
People
fun.
love it. And the community's been great, and everyone's just been having such a good time with this. And it's been out for about 6 months. And all of a sudden, they have announced that if you want to continue to play the game, you'll have to log in via your PlayStation Network account. Well, I bought the game on Steam. Why do I need to have a PlayStation Network login? What the fuck? Well, because Sony's the publisher, and they want data. Simply put, they want those people on their ecosystem.
Yep.
And they want people who are in Steam that may never have had a PlayStation account to open one so they can start sending you marketing emails. That's basically what this boils down to. This is some junior executive at Sony who decided that he wanted to pad his numbers because that's what his bonus is tied to, his PlayStation Network numbers. And he forced this come hell or high water. It was. And so what's happened is that people were understandably a little bit upset about this. Mostly people were like inconvenienced. If I'm being honest, for most people, this is not that big of a deal. Like, be real.
Like, I haven't played Helldivers 2 since this came out, and part of it's because, like, I don't want to log in. Like, I have a PlayStation account.
Yeah.
I don't know what the login is. I'd have to, like, go through the whole thing, like, figuring it out, and, like, forgot my password and all that.
So it's an inconvenience.
Yeah, and I don't want to do it.
Yeah, it's just a pain in the ass. Definitely not worth going on Steam and blowing them up, necessarily. But where this becomes a real issue is for other people in other countries where the PlayStation Network is not available, but Steam is. So you buy this game on Steam, and then all of a sudden the developer of the game you spent, what is this? Isn't it $70?
No.
What is it?
It's $40.
You drop $40, and all of a sudden the developer's like, no, you have to log in with this thing. And you're like, oh, and you go to log in, and it's saying this website is blocked in your country. And you're like, well, what the fuck? Now you can't play your game. And that's where I think the crux of a lot of the negative reviews came in. And then everyone loves to jump in on review bombing.
Well, and one thing you need to understand about this too, this community that they've built, they've kind of built this, like, there's all this lingo around it. Like, I'm doing my part. They've got like that whole thing. And like, and so if you go and look at the reviews, yeah, like the top recently posted, thumbs down, I'm doing my part, salute. Because that's like part of the game.
Yeah.
And people are having fun doing that. This says every negative review is a bullet in the gun of Arrowhead's defense against Sony. I'm doing my part. And like it says,
that's from Captain America.
We dive together or not at all. Like,
so they've turned that like patriotic hoorah tone from the game and that you play along with if you're playing the game with your buddies. And they have turned this toward the evil empire that is Sony, I suppose.
Yes, it's pretty. It's funny, but it also like really
very
makes me sad.
unfortunate for Arrowheads, which is, as we've kind of discussed this, there is no coming back from this. We talked about the classic example of No Man's Sky, which spent 5 years quietly rebuilding, and they just barely breached like mostly positive. Is that what it was?
Yes, something like that.
And they had to claw this back, these reviews, and earn these positive reviews over the course of 5 years with free updates, nonstop free updates. They didn't charge a dime for any of this.
Like working hard. They have done
and they were a smaller game. No Man's Sky, I'm pretty sure, was a smaller game with always a smaller installed user base than Helldivers 2 had. And it took them that long. So Arrowhead is really has an uphill battle here to fight, because I think at a certain point people are just wanting to see that number become. I think this may be the most disliked, one of the most disliked games on Steam at this point.
The only way to come back from this is for them to put it out there into the community, like, okay, look, we fixed it, let's pull our reviews back, and like do that with the same mentality. Like we did.
You got to offer them a lot.
Done it for Super Earth, right? That sort of thing. Because I think a lot of people were doing it just like for the memes, right? Because it's fun.
Yeah.
But if you look at this, like I look at the recent reviews, 13% of the 259,000 user reviews in the last 30 days are positive.
Yeah.
You can't, I mean, there's 544,000 total, and 43% of those are positive. So like, you're not bouncing back from that. But unless people pull their reviews or change their reviews,
which is hard to get them to do. It really is.
Can't even get them to log into the PlayStation Network.
Right. So here's some context, and a lot of this is coming from the CEO, who's been very vocal.
He always is. He always has been.
The people were his studio was taking a lot of the flack for this, when it was, in fact, a big chunk of it was Sony's responsibility. But then it later came out that, he does take a lot of accountability for this as well. So first, there's a tweet, ouch, right in the review score. Well, I guess it's warranted. Sorry, everyone, for how this all transpired. I hope we will make it up and regain the trust by providing a continued great game experience. I just want to make great games, he says. And then he tweets later. Let's see here. Is this the moment to tweet? What? You guys don't have phones? On a serious note, we're taking solutions with PlayStation. We are talking solutions with PlayStation, especially for non-PlayStation Network countries. Your voice has been heard, and I'm doing everything I can to speak for the community, but I don't have the final say. So he's saying this is not really on me. It's on Sony, and we're working with them. And what starts to come out, it seems, is that PlayStation made them require the PlayStation Network accounts originally when they negotiated this contract years and years and years ago, before they even started making the game, when they agreed to publish it. And they said during this first 6 months, because the server load was so crazy high, because the game was so wicked popular right away, that they were like, we're not going to bother with requiring this login, because it would increase the server load to some extent. Let's see. When servers, this is a tweet again from this guy, the head of the studio. When servers exploded on launch, quick decisions had to be made, such as turning off linking and Galactic War stats to be able to take the load off servers. We couldn't enable it again because of the risk to explode the servers again. And finally, the requirement to re-enable came from PlayStation to help with moderation. And we had to comply, even though there were concerns that there would be backlash. There was backlash, and now we're talking about it again. So it sounds like they knew. He kind of was just whistling by the graveyard, hoping this wouldn't become an issue. And once it became an issue, and PlayStation's like, TikTok, bitch, let's get the accounts up. We got to do this. And I guess it was under the guise of it'll help with community moderation. Everything just blew up. And he's like, oh shit. Who could have seen this coming other than everybody, including me?
Yeah. This one actually makes me sad, though.
Well, Steam has started issuing refunds for players in these non-PlayStation Network countries, even if they're well past the 2-hour refund mark, because Valve's chill as hell. Valve's like, nah, fuck that. That's
Valve is really chill with this type of stuff.
Mm-hmm. No, this is a product and you paid for it. Now you can't access it anymore. But that's a PlayStation call. ultimately that's what Sony chose to do as the publisher when they're configuring their Valve account, their Steam account, their Steam page, and they choose where to sell Helldivers 2. They chose to sell it in countries they knew they couldn't have access to once they dropped this requirement, which is the scummiest fucking thing for me of this entire portion, is that they configured their Steam sale page, whatever, for Helldivers 2 to sell in countries that they knew that wouldn't be able to access the game once they did this. That's fucking wild to me.
Well, Sony's making some. I know they have other games that they've published who have been on PC, but if you remember, they've really started branching out into the PC market, like releasing stuff, and I think they're making some rookie mistakes.
Yeah, huge rookie mistake, and this isn't worth it because the even if this had gone well, you would still have people like you. Now we have player drop off.
Yeah,
because we forced another requirement. A login requirement, which nobody likes.
No, I don't even. So, like, here's an example. I really dislike it. Sometimes you just have to suffer through it, right? Sometimes you play a new game and like, I got to log into this thing.
Sure.
Right. But
yeah,
where I've seen it, and sometimes it works terribly. We've been playing. I was playing some Diablo 4.
Well,
I was playing it on Game Pass, but I still had to link up my Blizzard account, right? My Battle.net. So now I was like, okay, well, I'm not really playing Diablo. And so I tried to close Battle.net. No, if I had Diablo downloaded and I wanted to open up the Xbox app on my computer, I had to have Battle.net open on my computer as well, even if I wasn't playing Diablo 4. So what did I do? I just deleted Diablo 4 because I was like, I don't want Battle.net open all the time on my computer, just always going. So there is problems with linking. I don't know why they love it so much, but there's issues.
Data harvesting. They want your data. They want you in their ecosystem at all times because they can't sell you stuff. They can't drop unwanted notifications on your desktop if you aren't constantly logged into their system.
So yeah, I don't know. I think they need to figure this out, especially for big games. But I'm not a fan, and it does make me want to not log back in. I don't want to go through the whole hullabaloo. You know, we've got listeners of this podcast who don't download the Epic free games.
Yeah, because logging
is a pain, and like it's the same thing. I want to know what my PlayStation login is. I don't want to figure it out. Let's play something else.
Yep. Hope it was worth it, Sony.
Was it worth it, Tim? Sorry.
Was it worth it? Escape from Tarkov studio boss says he, quote, did not foresee players would get mad about charging extra for PvE. Who could have seen this coming? Our $250 non-DLC DLC isn't it included with the $100 non-DLC DLC pack that was supposed to get you all the DLC.
Why are these guys so dumb? Like for reals dumb. I don't get it.
I don't know how it's like panning for gold and all the shittiest COOs and CEOs just rise to the top every fucking time.
So stupid.
And the boards just pick them out of the pan and they're like, ooh, there's something shiny.
They make the worst decision. They're like, what?
This is COO
like it?
Nikita Bianov in a writing in a Reddit post. This is I'm just going to read the quote. Unfortunately, I somehow did not foresee the fact that of such a reaction, and now I have drawn conclusions for my future decisions. He went on to thank players, quote, for your time, love, and hate, and thank you for your increased attention to the current situation.
Or you could have just not made a stupid decision and like status quo, people to still be playing your game, your player base to be happy, which is what you want. Tarkov isn't even out yet. I mean, they're in a unique position where they have a pretty rabid fan base and they're not even technically out yet. They're in a great position that many studios would just love to be in.
Yeah.
And they're just trying to blow it.
It's never enough for these large studios. And I think that's what we're going to be seeing as a theme. That's going to be, I'm just calling the theme this. I know it's already May. Guys, we're already like halfway through this fucking year. But that's going to be the theme, I think, continuing throughout the whole year and maybe into next year. because we've had this retraction of where everyone's tightening their belts. We're firing a ton of people, and now we're asking all these employees, the remaining employees of these game studios, to do twice as much work. And it's not really working. It's not coming out. And then the more that you have to get out of those people, the less you're actually going to get. And so once you have, if you have a big hit, if you have a game like Tarkov, it's big, or if you have a game like Helldivers 2, you're like, we just have to keep hitting the pleasure button on this because we don't have any other choice. We have to make that money. There's no other option. And I just feel like when you compare it to indie games, you compare it to the success that Valheim had, and then when everyone's like, dude, start making a ton of content. And look, I wish Valheim, I really do. I wish they were producing stuff faster, but I'm glad they didn't. As an indie dev, they were just like, fuck you guys. We're going to take our own time. Look at Manor Lords. I was just reading. Did you know that's only made by one guy?
Yeah, I did.
And they were like, people are like, hire 50 guys and expand it. It could be huge in a minute. It's the same thing. They're like, no, dude, pump the brakes. I'm just making this it's taking off. It's huge. It's kind of a big hit, but the indie hits take off, and the indie devs, if they choose to, can take their time with it and work on these games, like Planet Crafter, for example, which isn't as big of a hit, but they took their time and they made something great. It doesn't seem like the AAAs, these larger game studios, allow that. You can't just have a Helldivers 2 and everything's going great and everyone loves it. You can't have Tarkov, which is apparently people are happy to pay $100 for this fucking shit. And they were happy, and they're like, well, if they pay $100, let's see, maybe they'll pay $250. They're just going to eat themselves. And that's what's going to be what we see going forward through the rest of the year, is these large studios that even if they do something right, they have these unforced errors because they're really pursuing more profits, immediate profits, which isn't even like the PSN thing on Helldivers 2 is a very complex translation from that required login to $1, an extra $1 spent and $1 in Sony's coffers. That's a very long customer journey. And I think it's fucking crazy that they did all this just for those couple extra dollars.
Yeah, I like that you titled it Unforced Errors, because there's just things I know it was like Helldivers, it was in their contract originally, but they just didn't have to do it, and they were like, "Hey, we're good now. Let's do it." But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the CEO of Tarkov is like, "Oh man, you know what? We shouldn't have done that. 250 was the wrong price point. Let's try
400."
Yeah.
400 seems right, guys.
No, you're doing
this
the
isn't
wrong
DLC.
way.
This isn't DLC. No, it's not DLC. You see, it's something totally different that you download.
They're so dumb
for extra content.
At this point. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes the wrong complete way.
He's learned from your feedback, and he thanks you for your love and your hate. Anti-cheat software Vanguard just went live, and League of Legends players are already claiming it's bricking their PCs.
It's on
this is a kernel level software, which means it boots before most of the other software on your computer. Like, your computer starts with a black screen, and then this shit turns on, and then the rest of your computer turns on because this shit allows it to do that. Like, this thing owns your fucking PC because playing League of Legends means that much to you. It's just like, I get it. It's an arms race with hackers and cheaters. And so this is where the arms race has taken us, is to the nuclear option, which is hand your entire computer over to Riot Games so that you can play League of Legends with your friends.
Your League of Legends machine over to us.
Yeah.
And we'll take care of it from there.
And it runs constantly in the background, even if you're not playing League. And if you turn it off, well, you have to turn off your whole PC and boot it back up before you can play League again. Now, this isn't, to be fair, not unique to just League of Legends.
No.
So lots of games have similar things, including Helldivers 2, Overwatch, Call of Duty. They all have similar programs to prevent cheating, which is weird because Helldivers 2, isn't that non-competitive? Isn't it just co-op?
Yeah.
Why would they care about cheaters?
Why would you cheat is the other thing. Like, I don't understand what the fun is, but people will, because they're got to get all the stuff. I don't know.
This is a lot of people posting on Reddit and Twitter, and then that getting a lot of traction because it's fun to hate on League of Legends. I mean, hell, look at what we're doing right now. So I do think it has been blown a bit out of proportion. Riot Games claims it's only 0.3% of players running into these issues, which I will say, based on their current player numbers, somewhere hovering around 2 million, that's like 6,000 people. It's not like an insignificant amount of machines that are like, people have to like reboot the whole thing from their BIOS menu or just like wipe their PCs because this just screwed them up.
Yeah. Guess what game I would never play again?
Yeah. No, but those people, 100%. Those are like the self-loathing individuals that League of Legends thrives on as part of their player base. Like they will be back. They'll go buy a new PC, and guess what? The first fucking game they install on there will be League of Legends with bonus Vanguard.
I'm gonna try. I'm just gonna try this real quick. I'm just gonna try it.
I just wanted to. Oh, it's just a test. It's just a test to see if oh shit, it did it again. You guys did it again. Yeah, it was like there was like a League of Legends content creator that's like a big content creator. He said, I think he bricked 2 of his machines. He's like, I can't stop. Why can't I quit you?
A little bit. Yeah, it is. It's kind of funny. Like it sucks, but it's kind of funny because it's League of Legends. Yeah. Right. If this was like Pal World, I'd be like, oh man.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
League of Legends is like, it's like heroin. It's like a drug. It's like something you're like, or like gambling is probably a better example. Like, dude, you kind of did this to yourself. Like, you kind of deserve it. Yeah. Like, it sucks. It's sad. I'm sorry you lost your trailer, but like
you didn't have to go to the casino.
You went back. Like, you got a line of credit from the fucking casino. You should have known at that.
You made a series of decisions before you got to that point.
You're on first name basis with more than one casino employee. Like, I guess I can't feel bad for you.
Bro, every time I've gone to the casino and me and Dave would play for hours, I would see at least 10 people who all the dealers knew very well. Like they had beef with them. Like, yeah. I was like, you come to the casino too much if you and the specific dealers have beef.
It's your social circle. If the dealers and the pit boss are your social circle,
these are my friends. Like we've never hung out. They deal me cards.
We just hang out at work.
He's my best friend. I don't have his phone number. It's my best friend. I'm sorry to inform you. Welcome to another company reset. Hope you've updated your resume. You've just been laid off.
All right. There's just this one. Well, it's 2 and 1. It's a take 2 layoff. So there's always going to be 2. They always take 2 at a time.
Yeah, they take 2.
Yeah. So they took 2 studios down. They took 2 of them down. Take 2 down. Did we already report on this last week?
I don't think so.
Sounds familiar. This is Take 2 Interactive shutting down.
I make this same joke last week.
It feels
Take 2 studios down. I don't know.
Deja 2.
Great joke though. So let's do it again.
Yeah, it was funny the first time around, so you guys get to hear it twice now. London-based Roll7 was the developer of the action game Roller Drome. Not Roller Dome, Roller Drome.
What's a drome?
That's what I was just gonna say. What is a drome? And don't say, did you mean? Oh, used to form words whose original means relate to a course, such as a race course. It's a suffix.
Oh, it's a suffix. Oh, should I be using the suffix?
Yes,
drome.
Drome.
It's a suffix for like some kind of racing.
Yeah.
Okay.
What the fuck?
Okay.
Oh man, now we're never gonna get to play Roller Drome.
Now I kind of want to. Roller Drome. It's gonna be terrible
dope.
Reviews. Actually, I've seen this game. Actually, I have seen this.
Damn. Well, it's gone. It's fucking gone. Fuck you. It's gone. And London loses another game studio, which they're probably relieved about. Because God, can you imagine living in London on a game developer salary? You just like live in a box. In an alleyway. Also, Seattle-based
people.
I share this box. I have a shared bed because I work nights. Seattle-based Intercept Games, where they were working on Kerbal Space Program 2, which I guess this accounts for 70 jobs. I'm pretty sure there was one guy that made Kerbal Space Program 1. So for me, that's a red flag. You had 70 people working on Kerbal Space Program 2, and it went into early access 2 years ago, and it's still not out. That one's tough for me. I bet that was a tough sell for Take-Two executives.
Yeah.
I guess they'll still be providing updates to Kerbal Space Program 2. I don't know how, but Take-Two said that, yeah, we'll keep doing it because probably only takes one guy.
No,
it's 70 guys? 70 people working on this? This is weird. Anyway, I think all of these people will be getting severance, so at least that's nice. I don't know how long. Maybe
so the
like
Seattle group, they definitely will. And actually, it said they got warn notices. That's what we hand out. So it must be a very Seattle thing. So that's like a 60-day notice.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it helps.
What do you even do for that? If I get a thing at work that's like, we're going to fire your ass in 60 days and probably close down everything you're working on, you just go in and just clean your desk the first day and then spend 59 days just like twiddling your thumbs at the water cooler?
I know at my company, at least, if you have a layoff notice, you are allowed to apply for jobs and interview on company time.
That's the tightest shit ever.
So that's like what you do for 40 hours a week. You just go and apply for jobs.
The bummer is that in this job market, 60 days just gets you started, just gets you warmed up.
Barely got in there. You're like,
you scratch the surface.
You walk in fresh faced, and it's just a horde of like tired zombie people who are just like, welcome.
They're like, take a number.
I've been here for 700 days.
Number, and it's like a 4-digit number. You're like, this is how many people are ahead of me for jobs. Yeah.
You're like, okay, well, what are some of the tips? And they're like, you're gonna figure this out on your own. We're not giving you anything.
What are some of the tips?
Noob.
Hope people holding the number either give up or die. That's the tip for getting a job.
Stay away from them because they will murder you at this point to get the numbers down.
Take a number, Drome.
It's the application Drome.
Application Drome. I'm gonna use Drome a lot. I'm gonna use it.
I want to say it all the time now.
I just love that guitar twang. I just love it. That's how you know you're getting barbecue sauce. Twang.
I haven't even had their riblets, and I know what it tastes like because I've heard that
cheapest. Yeah, exactly. The cheapest, twangiest barbecue sauce. Riblets are little meat chunks of news, and you stab like a shard of bone through the middle, and you serve them to unsuspecting Midwesterners. And you say all you can eat, and man, people will pack your restaurant.
Dude, wait, they're in for that.
Yeah, they like that. So that's what we do.
Except for the restaurants aren't packed.
These news stories don't have a lot of meat on the bone. No,
but they're
don't.
Great. They're just as good as
they're just juicy.
Applebee's riblets.
All right, first up here, a software developer has joined the ranks of history's greatest monsters by adding microtransactions to the original Doom.
This is just a riblet because it's pretty funny.
Yeah,
this
is a goof.
Yeah, he did this as like what is the
It's Boston stupid shit nobody needs and terrible ideas hackathon.
Beautiful. I actually love this.
Fucking love that a lot.
And he adds microtransactions to Doom, which I don't want to give them any ideas, but did you read the microtransactions? You pick up
any item in Doom and it drops a QR code and freezes the game. You scan the QR code, it takes you to a payment processor, and then you pay the money, and then it'll unfreeze your game.
Like so painfully, just painful troll. I love it. Had to throw this in there and give this guy kudos because that is.
I kind of want to go to the Boston stupid shit nobody needs and terrible ideas hackathon. Kind of seems like something you and I would excel at.
Dude, they probably get a lot of their ideas from our show.
Yeah, that's the thing is we come up with at least one terrible idea or stupid shit nobody needs on this show every single week.
Just like we're a treasure trove of ideas.
You just data mine this podcast. You win every single year. Also, a year later, Redfall players who spent $100 are still waiting for its promised heroes. Guys, remember Redfall? Guys, there were people who paid because I didn't realize this was Microsoft's very first foray into $70 titles. They're like, yeah, let's kick this off with Redfall. That'll be a good start.
And it was hyped. Like this game was hyped. People were kind of stoked for this. Like they were like, okay, this could be fun.
This is like Vampire Left 4 Dead, right? That was the idea.
Yeah, it's kind of like Left 4 Dead. It was like Left 4 Dead with mixed in with some vampires. Other stuff. And people were excited for it. It got actually a bunch of Blursti noms, I think.
The idea that people were clearly excited for it because they paid $100 for the Hero Pass, which, by the way, what a lazy naming convention. The Hero Pass?
Yeah, $100 Hero
even
Pass.
Call it like the Van Helsing Pass or something cool.
Nope. You've got all sorts of clever naming.
So much shit.
Forever, and they just went for Hero Pass.
Hero Pass, which tells me what you can always see when you just like feel it bleeding out. This was designed by MBAs. This was designed by C-suite level people, by committee, by business meetings, meetings on meetings on meetings and consensus. And that's how you get the Hero Pass, because that's not offensive to anyone.
So they got the Hero Pass. You say you're into it. You're like, you know what?
You're into it enough to pay $30 extra on top of a $70 title.
What you get for the Hero Pass is 2 extra heroes when they release. Starts with this classic 4. So you're gonna get the 2. No, when the 2 more are released, you get them.
Why just call them Slayers, like vampire Slayers? Why they gotta be fucking heroes? Like, are you kidding me? The laziest shit I've ever fucking heard. This whole game is lazy.
Absolutely. 12 months. You bought the Hero Pass. They have not released in 12 months the 2 new promised heroes that you got for the Hero Pass. So you threw your $100 at nothing. You're not still playing this game. 12 months later, no one's playing this.
Let's see how many people are in the game right now. All right. How many people do you think are in game Redfall right now on Steam?
Oh, gosh. 40?
18.
Oh,
so of course, and all 18 of those poor suckers paid $100 for the game. They're still trying to get their $100 out of this fucking title.
This legit sounds like a grift.
Yeah.
They
just walked away like any con man that just leaves the fucking town after he's done with his grift. That's exactly what they did. They were just gone, dude.
Hero Pass, there's no other heroes. They're selling something that does not exist. This is great.
No, Microsoft is just like closing their eyes and holding their hands over their eyes and just like, oh no, we have no Redfall. What's that? I forgot. What is that?
I forgot about Redfall. We released that.
Shoot, I was gonna do something with Redfall. Was it like oh shoot.
You know what?
We gotta work on
those servers down immediately. We're done. I forgot about that. This is dead anyway.
This next servers? One, I'm so excited. Is a Blursti nom for Blur's Decision, right?
It's gotta be.
It's gotta be. Priest, a Catholic priest, allegedly spent $40,000 on Candy Crush using the church credit card.
It's happened again. It's happened again.
Look, dude, this is the last time what we were talking about. It was like a librarian that was using like county funds. I guess I can see more so a library. I guess no, both of these career choices seem to conducive to spending tens of thousands of dollars on a mobile game because you got so much downtime. Quiet
what am I doing?
Downtime in a library, in a Catholic church. Dude, what do you even do 6 days out of the week but play Candy Crush until you're poor?
It'd be I want to play, but I'm out of lives. I don't know what they are, but
power-ups. In Mario Kart Tour and Candy Crush over a 3-year span, an accountant working at this is a Catholic priest in Pottstown, Pennsylvania, and an accountant working for this church discovered a quote astronomical amount of Apple transactions. I don't think accountants use that word astronomical very often.
They don't use it lightly, that's for sure.
Yeah, prone to exaggeration or hyperbole. And he said, this is credit card statements for the church while reviewing their finances in 2022. Reverend Lawrence Kozak, 51, was charged with theft and other related crimes. according to the affidavit of probable cause. He's been released after posting a $250,000 bail. So we got that together.
Using the church's credit card.
Dude, I'm the bail company. I'm like taking this dude's phone for sure. I'm like, we're not, you owe us $250,000. You don't get that phone back. We know what kind of damage you can do on Mario Kart Tour.
Oh my gosh. He said detectives interviewed him and the priest told them that he was seeking out counseling for his mobile game addiction. Guys, he is so bored. Pottstown, Pennsylvania Catholic priest is
yeah.
You got nothing to do. He knows there's other mobile games, right?
Like I don't know. Mario Kart Tour seems like pretty dope.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, this is a town of how many people live here? 23,000.
No, it's not.
Not a lot of people in Pottstown.
He's so bored, you guys.
He's just fucking bored. He clarified with the investigators that he has not spent the money on gambling, but he instead spent thousands of dollars on items to, quote, power up and gain an advantage in various games. He's like, look, I'm not doing something where I potentially could have gained anything notable.
I was wanted to play
something
more.
Stupid.
Like I was trying to play more.
Phone game. Like not unlike a 5-year-old. Some of these officers that are talked to, I'm sure, have like little kids who they've locked out of their own phones because they know they'll just spend money on stuff. They're talking to a grown-ass 51-year-old man who's dropped 40 large over the course of 3 years. They're like, dog, what the fuck? No, you're going to jail.
Also, why did it take the Catholic accountant or whatever 3 years to figure this out? Like, he should have known pretty quickly. I feel like if you give somebody a company credit card, you're typically monitoring that a little bit.
And why would you let any of them connect it to their fucking Apple account?
Why would there be a single charge from the church account to Apple? Why? There's none.
By the way, if you see the charges from the App Store on your phone, on your credit card bill, they always like say the name of the game. So if you just see Candy Crush, $5.99, $4.99, $59.99, you're like, well, let's let this play out over the course of 36 months. Let's see where this goes.
Do you think he'll stop eventually?
We better build a case.
But he did, JD. He did after he was removed. He sent $8,000 to the church and as reimbursement.
This
so
is like when you break a window when you're a little kid and your mom pays to replace it, and you go grab a couple of like quarters out of your piggy bank. You're like, here you go, Mom. Is this good enough? And she looks at you like, that's a start.
Thanks.
It's something.
You're like, where did you get those quarters? You're like, oh, they were in the car. In the little change thing, and like those are mine already. Whatever, kid.
Yeah. Amazon Twitch has started a rival to TikTok in short form video. This is just a week. You guys have seen the news that the House of Congress, the House they passed a bill banning TikTok. And that's, I think, headed to Biden's desk. He's probably going to sign it, and Chinese-owned TikTok ByteDance will have to divest from TikTok, or it won't be allowed to operate in the U.S. anymore. And the vultures are starting, I guess, more like the sharks are circling. And Amazon's
will
like,
try anything.
Dibs. That's ours. They're going to call it the Discovery feed, and you're just going to be able to rip short form videos out of your own streams, which people have already been doing of other people's streams. But what's really important here is this part I want to read. Streamers won't receive a cut of the ad revenue that appears on Discovery feed because the commercials appear between their clips and not directly in them, according to a Twitch spokesperson.
Hey,
they found a way.
Smart moves coming from a CEO. Just really brilliant. So they're like, we want to get a cut of the TikTok. TikTok goes out the door. We want to get in on this.
Mm-hmm. How do we make TikTok worse?
In the foot immediately.
Now, let's piss off our creators, the people that are making the content that goes between the ads. Let's piss them off. They'll love that.
Also, I hate that it's like we're playing the ads between the videos, and it's like,
So it's not
no, we
yours.
don't want the ads. Like you're missing all of it.
Dude,
Oh gosh,
it's
I can already tell you, Twitch is not going to be the one.
yeah, you're
Somebody's
not
going to
gonna
step in.
see
It's not Twitch.
Peterson, you're not gonna look over at your kids on the couch playing on their phones in 6 months and be like, "What are you guys doing?" They're like, "Oh, we're watching Discovery Feed.
I'm making a Twitch.
I'm making a Discovery Feed."
They can't.
This
Honestly,
is a Discovery Feed trend. That's why I'm eating this Tide Pod. I saw this on Discovery Feed.
the board. I can see the boardroom. They're like, "Hey, kid, this law passed, guys. We're gonna do this." Twitch CEO takes out a 6-shooter, shoots himself in both feet, and he's like, "Let's do it."
Yeah.
Like, what did you do that for? And he's like, "I don't know. That's just what we do. I think."
Don't make any decisions without shooting my own feet twice.
I have to. It's because it's a bad decision. I have to do it.
What
It's part of my. It's in my job description.
This is who I am. It's my DNA. Last thing up here is CEOs shooting themselves in the foot. Facebook has lost $1 billion every month on VR since June of 2022.
They're trying, guys. They're trying. It is not working out. I didn't think this would be the thing that saves America, and by that I mean, if Facebook shuts down, all of the conspiracy theory boomers, I don't know what they're going to do. How will they communicate their bad ideas? So I do actually want them
Discovery Feed. We just discussed this. Everyone's moving to Discovery Feed.
Grandma, why are you on Twitch?
I love Discovery Feed. That's why. It's Discovery Feed Drome.
This is so JD brought this up when we were talking about this. Like, this is kind of an interesting story because they're the only ones trying, right? In the VR space, they're the only ones
new things. No one tries new things, but because Zuckerberg owns this company and gets to do whatever he wants, whereas other companies are all run by boards that are all answering to shareholders, Zuck can be like, no, I just want to do this. This is a good idea. And this is what companies used to fucking do in the early 20th century or most of the 20th century when they weren't just endlessly chasing quarterly profits, one quarter at a time, was trying to innovate and come up with new things.
Coming up with like a big
risks.
Thing. Yeah.
And they big risks cost big money. Now, this is a bad fucking idea. This is a bad risk. I feel like we can all see where this has trended over the last 10, 15 years, and it hasn't been really stable and up and to the right. It's been shaky.
What I'll say is I think it was an interesting risk, but first off, it is a huge risk, but their execution was miserable.
Yeah.
Miserable execution. But also, I think the VR tech is just not necessarily like the tech and the price point just isn't there anyway. Like you're not going to get Facebook's not going to get their user base to strap on a headset. That's a lot of work. Like it's a lot of effort to do that for just like, I'm going to go screw around in the metaverse. Right. And so
the metaverse is like nothing.
Yeah.
And I don't know how they're spending this much money. I mean, it's obviously a lot of it's going to salaries and engineer salaries for Facebook, which are like $500,000 a pop in total compensation packages. But I don't know. This is pretty funny, though. In a press release that came out announcing their Q1 financial report for this year, they said, quote, "We continue to expect operating losses to increase meaningfully year over year due to our ongoing product development efforts and our investments to further scale our ecosystem." So, like, you think we spent a lot on the metaverse so far? Just you wait.
You have no idea how far I can see.
We have so much money, and we're just going to dump it all into this. This is going to be the last thing we do. This is like the last thing we do as a species, as like a civilization. When either like an asteroid's plummeting toward us or like the last mammal other than humans dies on the planet, is we're all just going to be strapping on the most magnificent VR headsets. I mean, the absolute pinnacle of human technology and civilization, right as the sun just poots us out. We're like, oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. All the icebergs have melted. The ocean's acid. But dude, this headset is sick. It's finally small enough, then it doesn't give me headaches.
I can
Would you
escape
believe
the
it?
world for just a minute, and then an ad pops up.
Yeah, and then the power goes out.
Kudos. Kudos. Kudos.
All right, kudos, our positivity segment. Bringing it back up because the news is always a fucking bummer.
It was a fun bummer though. This time, I feel
A
like
fummer.
that's. I don't know.
It was a
like
bummer drome.
bummer joke. Yeah.
Anyway, kudos, Peterson. What do you got?
Okay, mine is
Looks
like a
we got
double
some
kudos.
Okay.
Mine's they're double kudos. Okay, so let's see. A couple weeks ago, maybe, me and my wife went out. We went down to Salt Lake area because we were going to a Broadway play down there called Come From Away. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's a Broadway play. It's a musical based off of during 9/11. A bunch of planes that were in the air during the terrorist attacks were rerouted and directed to different airports, and they were grounded. Well, one of them, there's this huge airport in Newfoundland, Canada, that used to be a gigantic airport before airplanes could make the full journey across the ocean. They'd stop there, gas up, and go right for these long journeys. So it was a large airport, but the city that it's in has 7,000 people or 9,000 people. So during 9/11, this is a true story. During 9/11, a bunch of planes were rerouted there because it was a safe place to go, is on the way, right?
Yeah.
7,000 people were grounded there for 5 days.
Damn.
And in the true story, this town that they were in, like, really received them well, like came together.
Like, hell yeah.
Fed the people, like
tourists in years.
Made it like a good tried to make it a good experience. And so this is that story, and they made a musical out of it. Honestly, really great. I had no expectations going into it because I didn't really know much about it. Loved it. I mean, I was laughing at certain points, got teary a few times. Like, it's very good. And what was interesting is every actor in there plays like 4 parts, and they will switch. It's not like Hamilton where it's like, in the first half I'm playing this guy, in the second half I'm playing this guy. It is like they'll switch during a song. There's like doing the song, then they go into a dark area, put on a hat, and come back in 4 seconds later, and they're the next character. Very interestingly done. It was really good. Really loved it. There wasn't any huge set changes. There's no intermission. It was a pretty short play, about an hour and a half. Anyway, Come From Away, really, really enjoyed that. The music was great.
It sounds like it would play well as not just a non-musical movie. Seems like it could just be a real nice feel-good movie.
It honestly, I am surprised it's not. Maybe there is one, but it was very feel-good story. Really awesome. Really great. So Come From Away, true story again. The stories are true in there. Very interesting. So that was a great musical. If you're looking for something else to see, go check that out. But before we went, I was like, let's go get something to eat. And I wanted a steak. I hadn't had a steak for a little while because beef prices are ridiculous. And so I was wanting a good steak. So I found a place in Midvale, pretty close to JD, actually, right up the street from the Midvale Crave Cookie. It's called Hoof and Vine. It's a little steakhouse, but it's fancy. You go inside and it doesn't have, like, you don't go inside and you're like, oh my gosh, this is luxurious. Like, it was nice, but they treat it like a fancy restaurant while you go. You order. In between each course, they take all of your silverware away and bring you back fresh utensils. In between the salad and the entree, they bring like a palate cleansing sorbet. This homemade. Everything was homemade in-house. We got fried Brussels sprouts, which were the guy recommended, and I was like, that does look good. So I got them. Incredible. They were so good. Everything we got there was good. I got an elk steak, a New Zealand elk steak, and it was odd. I thought about it for the next week. It was honestly that good. All the sauces they brought out with everything were incredible. Like, I really mean it. It was very good. They brought 3 sauces out with the meat. All of them tasted very different, very incredible. There was a blue cheese one, which I like blue cheese, but I don't like to put it on. I don't like to overwhelm stuff with it. I was dipping the bread in this blue cheese sauce. I
Dude.
put it on the mashed potatoes. It was like mind-blowing how good it was. Everything was incredible. It was awesome. The service was great. It felt very fine dining. It was expensive, but it was wow, wow, wow. I would go and order that elk 1,000% again. It was so delicious. So anyways, Hoof and Vine, if you're in the Salt Lake area and you need like a nice night out with a significant other, just want to treat yourself, I would definitely recommend it. It's all mostly just like steak and stuff. Bunch of different steak. My wife got hers what's it called? Wellington style. So you can
Wrapped in
get like the puff pastry.
Yeah.
And it's very good. So very good. Hoof and Vine in Midvale, Utah. Check it out. What do you got?
I have a Fudos for a restaurant that's just down the street from Hoof and Vine.
Nice.
But it is a chain, and they've got these all over the place. Dave's Hot Chicken popped up down the street from me, like I said, down the street from Hoof and Vine, actually, down in Midvale, more like Murray, maybe. It is a Nashville hot chicken place. It's like I said, it's a chain. You got a very simple menu. They got tenders and they got sliders. They call them sliders, but they're the size of a sandwich. It's a standard sandwich size. Like, I don't know why. Like, I hear slider, I think a sandwich that's
Little guy.
a little guy, like a dinner roll sized sandwich. But no, this is a normal sandwich. So don't be misled by that. And then they have like fries and pickles, just standard like Nashville hot stuff. I got the one tender, one slider combo that comes with fries and a slice of bread and some pickles and Dave's sauce. And the tender was good. Tender was solid. The seasoning on it's nice. You can get different spice levels, so I went with just medium. And probably could have gone a little spicier, honestly. But the slider has the slaw and the pickles and the sauce on it, and just like on a standard bun, it slaps.
Better than Pretty Bird?
Dude, I've seen things sitting in the gutter that are better than fucking Pretty Bird.
I love dogging on that place.
That place super sucks. This place doesn't. This place is like, you actually want a Nashville hot without somebody like insisting on putting their own little spin or twist on it.
You just want a nice hot chicken.
You just want a hot chicken. Dave's Hot Chicken. Now, I can also see, now this is going to sound weird, I can see how this place might suck because it's a chain. So every restaurant, each franchise is going to be a little different. And I can see if the quality wasn't there or people weren't like trying very well.
Yeah.
It kind of seems like it just operates on a razor's edge because it's so simple. But the one I had tonight was awesome.
I feel like that's the caveat for every fast food recommendation.
Yeah.
Because like I went and got the Jack in the Box double bacon smash burger. Maybe one of the best fast food burgers I've ever eaten, but I can't promise that it will be incredible every time because the Jack in the Box near me is new. And you can tell that the employees are still like taking tons of pride in their service and all that stuff. Like they're very outgoing and friendly, which I've been to Jack in the Boxes that were just turd, dumpsters. They're just like nobody cared. And so that's why I didn't give it kudos, but it really is incredible. But I love Jack in the Box so much. But yeah, I can't, like, I want to recommend it, be like, everyone needs to go get this, but someone's going to go get it and it's going to taste like garbage.
Yeah, absolutely. Every time. And like to that same effect, like maybe the best burger I've ever had at a fast food place was, I think, at like an A&W in like Woodruff, Idaho.
Yeah, and you recommended it, and I was near A&W, and I went and I was like, this was super mediocre.
Yeah, it was like in the middle of like bumfuck nowhere, Idaho, and it was like the best burger ever. Yep. But I've never gotten an A&W burger since that was that good. So maybe it's not that great, but the one that I went to, the one in Midvale, Utah,
you loved it.
Dope, and
I
loved it.
And you loved it.
Yeah, I'm not going to be going back there like always because as like a chicken tender place, it doesn't, because Charlie's chicken fingers that I talked about before on this podcast, they have like 8 different sauces, and they've got all sorts of shit going on. So if I want like chicken tenders, I'm going somewhere else. But this slider, if I want a hot chicken slider,
Sometimes you just want a
hot chicken
spicy chicken sandwich. Yeah.
oh, this is the place to go. So yeah, check it out. Dave's Hot Chicken. Also, one other thing, and I got a shout out to MNP Chan on our Discord because he told me where to get this, and it took my lazy ass like 2 months to get down there and finally get it. But I got some Mountain Dew Purple Thunder.
Oh, you couldn't just find it at the grocery store?
If it's not at Winco, it doesn't exist for me, man.
Oh, that's crazy.
That's like I just go to Winco now. I'm on a baker's salary. What do you think? You think I can go
Winco's
shop at Smith's?
Here's the thing. I love Winco though. Like if I have the choice, I'm gonna go to Winco.
Yeah,
I just don't go there because I buy so many groceries and the bagging stresses me out.
You gotta
I buy myself always.
Oh yeah,
I get
no.
the kids, they're so bad at bagging.
Job. The bagging is a 2-person job. Jenna does the deals with. She takes the credit card and deals with the cashier, and I do the bagging exclusively.
That's why when you're by yourself, full groceries, it is stressful.
No, and I rarely see people at Winco shopping alone. You're right. It's a joint activity. It's a co-op. It's a co-op shopping.
You need somebody, and not my 6-year-old. She doesn't help much.
Yeah, they said that that grocery store is a co-op, and I just didn't realize that's what they meant. Mountain Dew Purple Thunder is the plum berry flavor, I believe. Yeah, plum with a blast of berry plum. And it's dope.
It's good.
It's dope.
It's good. Yeah.
I hope it makes me more regular because there's plum in it, right?
I haven't seen a zero version of it, which makes me sad.
Yeah, this would be really fucking good as a zero.
Yeah.
That's
the reason why I didn't give it kudos, because I didn't see a zero version, and I really, really want that. Sometimes the full sugar sodas are too much for me now.
Yeah, I don't really care.
Because I'm old, and but yeah, if there's a zero version of that, I'm gonna be all over it.
Mountain Dew Purple Thunder. I mean, they haven't had a miss in about a year or two, so you can basically guarantee I'm gonna be giving any new Mountain Dew flavor kudos at this point.
They honestly do a great job. They
do such a good job. And why does Coke suck so bad? I saw Coke did a spiced raspberry.
Nobody wants that. Why would you even? Did nobody taste
their
it?
Their flavors seem like mistakes. Like their chemists spilled something on the day that they were due to talk to the executives and pitch new flavors, and they're like, this is what we got. And it's just like garbage. And the best thing that comes out of it is spiced raspberry or like orange. They're like, what if we had Coke with just orange in it? Like, are you even trying, Jerry? The guy's care about your job as a food chemist?
The guy comes out and he's like, "Okay, raspberry Coke," and like people are like, "That sounds okay, but can you throw some clove in there?" You're like, "What the freak? Why?"
I want to taste like I'm drinking raspberry Coke, but it's been made by a '50s housewife that's using like an old weird recipe book to make it.
Yeah, who uses Jello-based recipes?
Yeah,
still.
Yeah, and it's got some Jello powder.
Like, stop putting clove in stuff.
We don't need cloves.
It's very specific spice. Don't put it in my Coca-Cola.
I only want it in those cheap little cigarillos that I get at the gas station. That's the only way I want my fucking cloves.
Not buying a lot of those lately.
Yeah, dude, a lot of prime times for this guy. Vanilla prime times, baby.
Dude,
they're classy.
I guess I started in the 90s and have been hooked since.
Dude, if you saw someone roll up to a party in the 90s or early 2000s and they slid a prime time out of their pocket, you knew that person fucked.
I thought they went the way of Zima, but I guess not.
You have a prime time in the corner of your mouth while you're drinking a Zima, and you're like, I know what year it is. I don't even need to ask.
I know that you're 17 years old. I know that it's 1995. Like, this is... And I know you're going to get laid tonight.
You're not going to wear a condom. I know it.
Honestly, you don't need one.
It's the 90s.
You're way too cool for condom. heard about you in the alpha. Harry played you in the beta. You were a hot mess early access. So we put you down for years. It's time to revisit. It's time to revisit. Revisiting ours on here.
Revisiting Hours is where we go back to a game we played a couple months ago, a couple years ago, and we check in on it, because these days they release a game and then they work on it and they keep working on it and it keeps getting better, and then it turns into No Man's Sky or something dope,
and then they add microtransactions and kill all of the last 4 years of work.
That was fun. We had a good time for a minute there.
What happened?
No, I don't get it. So Peterson and I,
finally,
in like probably the worst form of edging I've ever had to deal with in my life.
Oh no, I've had some pretty bad sessions.
Like a fucking year and a half of just like painful edging. Holding off on playing the Planet Crafter.
This is true too. He's got me in his ear the whole time, be like, don't do it.
Don't do it.
Just wait.
You'd better not do it.
Don't.
You'd better not.
Hold it. Hold.
Hold. It seems cruel. I didn't sign up for this. Planet Crafter is a terraformation, I guess, simulator kind of game.
It is technically a survival simulator, but
crafting game.
Are no enemies. That's one thing I always tell to everyone. Like, you need to understand. There's and they're pretty easy to dodge. In fact, you have to try to get hit by them. But there's no enemies. It's like if you took any survival crafting game you made and there's no bad guys, there's no combat at all. Yep. You don't have a weapon. Sometimes you want to kill a frog, but you can't. There's no weapon.
You can't even eat the frogs. You start off, this is a very common trope we're seeing a lot, where you work for a big faceless space corporation. They send you to a desolate, dried out planet, and your whole job is to terraform it. You're given access to, I would argue, godlike technology that allows you on your way to.
But they do not tell you how to do it. They're just like, here's your thing, just go.
You're just guessing, but you're doing things. You're collecting basic elements that are scattered around the surface of the world, and using a variety of crafting machines and tools to increase the planet's livability. Mm-hmm. And this is all represented in your terraformation index, in which takes a lot of different things into account, including the planet's heat, the planet's atmosphere, heat, pressure, oxygen levels. And then later, as you begin to create a livable atmosphere and planet, and even breathable air, you start populating it with insects and later amphibians, mammals, and I don't know, maybe people will start crawling around. We haven't gotten that far. But when we played this last, it was.
I'm so sorry. I just imagined like babies popping up around the world,
just like the frogs do. Like, where did those come from?
Like, there's a human baby here.
Hey, humans starting eggs too, man.
I don't know how it got here. They're just crawling
out,
staring at me.
You're like,
I can't pick them up. Just
I found a gold baby. It's a golden baby. Do you think it'll make more?
Yeah, we need to put him in the incubator.
Put him in an incubator with another golden baby.
Okay, I'm so sorry. Keep going.
The game we played initially, God, when do you think it was?
We started in the very first Steam Fest. And
because there was a demo, and I remember playing the demo for all of 5 minutes before immediately closing it and buying the game. Mm-hmm. That's what this game was like for me. Let's see, Planet Crafter, July 31st of 2022. So it's been just under 2 years since I originally played it and adored it. And I played it, I think I played one or two of the updates before they announced a when did you and you played it in April.
I only announced
their roadmap, which I really wish Valheim could execute on a roadmap like these guys have.
This is a 2-person studio too. A husband, wife, I believe.
In France, just some little village in France.
So over here just making a banger of a game.
Absolutely fantastic game. It's a first-person game. You just run around with your like a scanner gun that you can later use
Crafting
to
gun. It is a mining
it's your utility
gun.
weapon gun,
Yeah.
whatever. And we played this originally, and it was very bare bones. You would land on the planet. You couldn't even get the atmosphere to a place where you could breathe it. You were always maintaining your oxygen. You had to run inside buildings, or you would run out of oxygen eventually. As you increase the livability of the planet, the water would start to rise, which was cool.
There's ice everywhere, and it starts to melt, and it would rain.
Yeah, and so those things would happen, and there were a few little there was a bunch of wrecked spaceships that you could explore on the planet, and that was about it. There was a hint of a story, but once you kind of terraformed, got the water full, and you
little
started
bushes would start to grow, plants would start to grow.
yeah, and the big thing was you were planting trees. And that's how you ended the game, was covering the whole planet with trees, and that was about all you could do. And their roadmap included all sorts of shit.
So
bugs,
much
fish, new wrecks, and then eventually
new whole areas. There's
Yes.
whole new areas that opened
story
up.
stuff. And what got Peterson to convince me to stop playing every subsequent update is when they said co-op. We will have, when this game releases in its 1.0 with all of this stuff, we'll have a co-op support as well. And so Peterson said, play that with me. Don't play all the updates. So I resisted all the updates. I just read about them vaguely and lusted after them because
we're both on the Discord server, and there would just be a post that would just be to everyone and be like, here's what's on the test servers. And it would just say like frogs, and then JD would be like, that's it, I'm in, I'm going in. And I'd be like, don't do it, JD,
don't do it.
But we would both get the message at the same time. It was funny because we were both like messaging about it, and JD'd be like, I'm going, and I'd be like, don't do it like right away.
I gotta do it.
I have to do this.
But Peterson talked me out of it, and I'm kind of glad he did, because this has been, and in fact I did start playing a game on my own, and I haven't gone back to it. Even though I've got the game file, I'm like, nah, I just want to play on the one with Peterson.
The co-op is so great.
Yeah, it's clean, it's smooth. You just join your friend's game via friend code.
I just send a friend code and he's in.
And I retain all my inventory and everything. So I don't even know how that works. Because could you send that code to somebody else and they could join it? Would they have my inventory? Would they come in as a separate?
No, they just come in on their own.
It's amazing. So
it's
only two people.
Extremely well done. The co-op, very well done.
Right.
As
and
far
it's
as like
smooth.
Just indie games, it's so easy.
Yeah.
Let's see. I got a few good things I have to gush about in this game because
gush away.
I played a bunch of survival games, and I have never, ever, ever in all the games that I've played a game that just scales itself so well.
Oh, okay.
You start off and you can barely walk around without oxygen. But the one thing that they've done, which is so thoughtful, is they make it increasingly easier and more fun to play at the same time. A lot of times once you get to that part where you're like, okay, this game's easy now, like in Valheim, I can just run through and Shrek everything. Like nothing's that big of a deal. It loses some of its fun. This game does not, because they just keep adding stuff. So at first you just run around the world, running out of oxygen constantly. You can quickly upgrade your oxygen tanks. There's a bunch of upgrades for them. Then you're building a house, but they make everything better. So you're running around a lot, and then they're like, you know what? Let's just give these guys a jetpack. So now you can just fly around. Does the jetpack have any sort of fuel that requires a lot of jetpack games? No, you just fly around endlessly now. You just go anywhere. You know what? We're flying around a lot. Let's get a better jetpack and a better jetpack.
Go even faster.
And then you know what? Teleporting. Are there any limits to it? No. Just build a teleporter and you can teleport to any other teleporter you've done. They make it, and all of that's like, man, that sounds OP. It's not. They just scale it to a point to where like, this feels right. This
Yeah, they
feels
feel like
what I
quality
should
of life
be doing.
upgrades that appear right when you want or need them.
It,
Like, I need a
absolutely.
bigger inventory, and all of a sudden you've unlocked one.
And you're like, oh, we just unlocked a new
There it
backpack.
is.
And the way you unlock stuff is by increasing your different planet stats. So,
Yeah.
like you said, there's an
Pressure,
overall
heat,
terraformation index,
oxygen levels,
and then it's plants, and then it's bugs, and it's animal and bio
biomass.
life. Yeah,
Yeah.
so all that types of stuff. As those increase, it will unlock certain things, and then you're like, and the game every time I would say, not every time, I'd say 90% of the unlocks open up the game in a slightly different way. And you're like, oh, all right, here we go. And the first ones are like, just you unlock this so you can make the heat better. You unlock a new heater so you can make the heat better, which will unlock this thing, but then once you get to I'd say where we're at to like end game, every unlock is like, oh, this is great. This is amazing.
Yeah.
And we are loving it. And the crafting is fun. If I have one little nit about the game, it's that the buildings, sometimes the build tables are wonky on the ground.
Yep.
Is when
But
they
you can
get
just
really
build it
wonky.
and floating in the air if you want.
Yeah, like the game doesn't care. There's a lot of like little goofy things about the game that they don't patch out, which is because it's hilarious. Like the rockets, like you launch a rocket up into the atmosphere that can like boost your stats, and they're super OP, right? You launch a couple rockets and you immediately just start plinging off, unlocking stuff. But you can like knock them off course. You can jump into them and knock them off course, and they just fly
You don't take
around.
damage. The rocket
No.
flies around, and it doesn't even reach the atmosphere. It doesn't matter. You still get the stats.
Yeah,
It's just silly, but that's not necessarily like the tone of the game.
no,
It's just something that was in the game. They left it in there because they're like a cute indie team, and they're like, yeah, whatever. Because if you don't jump on the rocket, it's beautiful. It launches just as expected. It goes straight up. You can even open your map and watch it launch because your map is just an overhead representation of the live game, which is really cool as well. I think for me, the biggest things that they added since we played, I just wanted to kind of go. So from a revisiting hours perspective, we kind of cut off right where you were building trees. And so everything they added since then was all the animals. So bugs, larvae just start showing up on the ground, and then you can start turning those into bugs.
we were worried a little bit. We were like, is the game gonna get real janky? Because again, this is a 2-person dev team. And then we're like, what happens when the water starts coming? And then there's like waterfalls and bugs showing up, and there's been no hitch in the game at all.
No. Yeah,
They're
I
just
mean,
there.
yeah, it's not even like roasting my PC even.
No.
There's let's see, bugs, fish, frogs. So all the animals they've added since. The world is a lot more fleshed out. Before it was they'd clearly built the bones of the world, and you could just wander off in long directions and see a big area that you're like, they're gonna add something to this area, but there was nothing there yet. I think if you go back to our old podcast when we talked about this, that's exactly what Peterson said, is like, oh, there's just a big empty area. And I know, and I'm pretty sure the area you were discussing at the time is the water, what they turned into the waterfall area.
Yeah.
Which is so awesome. And so they've fleshed it out. They've added and filled. There's not a lot of like open blank areas anymore. They all have stuff in them. And then the one thing that really made me so delighted about this game since we played it last and since we're revisiting it was that when you first play the game, when we played it the first time around, and you build, usually, if you're not paying attention, because how would you know that there's going to be a water? There's going to be a lake right here. So you start building, you need to build a house. You just start building it as close to where you landed. Well, unfortunately, you land right in the bottom of a dried up lake.
It's going to be a gigantic lake.
You start doing your terraforming and everything's going hunky dory. And then you go outside one day and it's raining. And you're like, cool, it rains now. I've done a great thing. And then a day later, you look and there's water pooling outside your house. And you're like, huh. And then the next morning you wake up and your house is underwater. And you're like, that is the fucking coolest shit ever. You have to move all your stuff. You have to move. And sometimes you move twice because you don't realize how much the water level rises. And that's one of the coolest things in the game when we played it that hooked me, at least, was that you were literally bringing life to this planet, a big desert world, and now there was water. Now, since we played 2 years ago, it seems like they've added dozens of things that have that same level of like discovery and joy. For example, like there's big cliff walls and some of them will be broken down and crumbled by these gigantic plant roots that form and kind of just pull them down through like rapid erosion, and they open up new like pathways to areas.
It connects areas that previously were not connected.
They had to go way around to get to before, and now they're connected because this thing randomly. There's underground areas that are created by melting ice. Before in the game used the concept of melting ice to just make these little like tunnels that connected areas, which was really convenient because otherwise you'd have to go around them. But now they were using them. Now they've got underwater entire areas that were just blocked off by the water. There's no other way to access them. And then the other thing that Peterson mentioned is these waterfall areas. There's this big area up in the mountains. It's covered in snow and all these cliffs, and you can't even really visualize it until it starts to melt. And then you start to see that all the cliffs have all these like waterfalls and rivers and river deltas. And you're like, oh my God, it's a whole like giant and they've done this all like you do it all in reverse, and it's just so cool to see it emerge. It really just felt like if I'm being honest, it felt like a 2.0. Like it felt like the one we were playing was like a 0.8, and then we missed like the 1.0, and now we're in the 2.0.
This game
is so
wonderful.
Good. Yeah, it's wonderful.
And one of the other thing that I wanted to mention is, as you know, I love just exploring and running around in games and just like finding stuff and getting loot and just exploring. This game rewards your exploration constantly.
Yeah.
Even to the point where like as new stuff unlocks, you'll go to an area that you've been to 100 times and find something new.
Yep.
And then there's this, they added a whole mystery to it. And in case anyone's going to play it, I won't go and spoil that, but like they added a whole mystery to it. And at one point, the mystery element makes you want to explore again because you're like, all these areas that you've been to now have a thing that you're looking for.
Yeah.
And all of it's good. All of it is good.
Do you have any nits? I mean, yeah, the building's kind of janky, but that barely counts as a nit in an indie survival crafting game.
And when we say janky, I've played way more janky building games than this. My biggest nit is that it's not going to look as pretty as sometimes I want it to. And that's like the nit, because otherwise, like they are very thoughtful about their building and like the unlocking of stuff that you're getting. And yeah, I don't have any major nits. Every time we play it, it's an absolute joy. I have a great time, even if we're not really doing anything. Like I spent so much time this last time collecting fish and butterflies and frogs for the museum I'm creating because I just can't help it. I can't help myself. Yeah. And it's, oh gosh, I want everyone to play this game. I want them to make $20 million because it is a labor of love, you can tell, but it is just so well done for a little indie game with 2 people making it.
Yeah.
I want it to be a smash hit because it is amazing.
If you guys played this initially, this is the time to go back. Absolutely. If you haven't 100%. Played it and you might be interested in it, this is the time to go check it out. I think it's still only like $20 or something. It's got to be still dirt cheap. There's a ton of quality of life upgrades that they've added that I loved. I mean, there's bigger storage things, which is always great in these games. There's an auto crafter that crafts from all the surrounding storages that you have, which is, I know, is always a demand in these games. So this thing does that, and you can set up like a whole factory essentially using drones and this auto crafter. So all your stuff you can just create and just have it happen automatically, which is really nice. The Peterson mentioned the jetpacks, faster jetpacks, and then one of the biggest things I think for me, one of the largest upgrades was they added end game dungeons. So these wrecks that you go and explore in the map are finite. There's only like 5 or 6 of them. Once you've explored them, you got to go back and explore them one more time once you unlock this one item. But that's it. And then and we were kind of like, oh, because that's where the best loot is. I mean, really good loot. Yeah. And then we just magically unlock this teleporter device that allows us to go to wrecks other places on the scattered through the planet, which is cool because then we can go see other parts of the planet that we've terraformed. that have benefited from our
Yeah.
terraforming without us being there, which is, I just think that's kind of a neat thing. And
it's
you
so
just
good.
go explore these wrecks, and they're procedurally generated from what I can tell, and then you just head home. And so they've made a solid actual end game loop that it was lacking before, because before the end game, in the original early access release, was just make a bunch of trees and goof around, make a cool base, whatever. But there was here you could set up a whole production line with drones flying all over the planet. You can have hundreds of drones doing all the work for you, automatically extracting resources from specific caves, and then bringing and crafting things, and then bringing those crafted items to a certain box and leaving them there for you to build from. And then you can, go explore these wrecks infinitely and find all these cool items. And we still are, I'd say we're at 90% done. I think there's 10% left of us to find. We haven't found the resolution of the story necessarily.
We haven't added mammals yet.
I think the last thing you can actually do in this game that I saw was you can build a rocket and leave.
Mm-hmm.
Once you've gotten your terraforming high enough, you can build a rocket and leave. And
and part of the story, I think we're prisoners, so I'm interested
we are,
to see
and
how this works.
Yeah, so you're a prisoner, and you've chosen as your sentence to go terraform a planet instead of being in a prison, which I would take that option for sure.
Same.
So we're running way too long on this. So long story short, go check out the Planet Crafter. Did you check the price on that?
$23. Honestly,
$3.
Easy buy at $23.
Buy it. Don't wait for it to go on a sale.
It's
Just
so
get it.
great, you guys.
There's a demo. You can play the demo, and you'll know really immediately whether or not you'll like this game.
Mm-hmm.
In the first 5 minutes of the demo, you'll know.
Mm-hmm.
So check out the demo and then buy the game. Planet Crafter. It's on Steam. You'll love it.
Dice of Destiny.
All right, Dice Destiny. This game we play at the end of every episode. There's 3 dice. One's a 6-sided dice, and it's how we decide who's going to roll the second dice, which is the 20-sided dice. It has 20 different game genres assigned to it. And then the other dice is a 6-sided dice that you roll to see how much money you can spend. Peterson rolled a couple weeks ago. He rolled a dating sim. He could only spend $15 on it, and he chose
Helltakers.
Ooh, sounds cool.
It was
sexy.
It was actually free to play, which I guess was a delight because it was very hard to find a $15 dating sim that wasn't a porn game. And so yeah, I found this game, and this is a dating sim in the loosest sense of the word, but I'll take it.
We'll take it.
And honestly, I wasn't even opposed to playing a dating sim. I just legit couldn't find one in the price point that I wanted to play. I had like kind of some specific criteria I was looking for. I wanted to play a game that had like a game in it, not necessarily just like a visual novel dating sim. I wanted to play a game. So I landed on Helltaker. Helltaker is it's by a developer publisher. I'm assuming a small team guy. It's called Van Ripper is the developer. This has overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam. It actually has 118,000 reviews. It was released in 2020, so it's been out for a few years. This is a puzzle-based game where you are some douchey-looking guy who had a dream about I'm assuming a sexual dream about demon chicks. And you're like,
this is hitting way too close to home.
You're like, I got to get in there. I got to get me some demon chicks. So you decide against everyone else's recommendation to go into hell and start forming your demon harem, your harem of demon girls. And you go through these levels. The levels are just a pretty simple puzzle. How it goes is you have each level, you've gotten a certain amount of moves that you can do. It'll be like you have 20 moves. So moving, you just use the arrow keys. Moving one direction is a move. Then there'll be blocks that you can hit and like essentially kick them into the next position. So moving them one over. The hit takes one move, and then you move into the space. So that's another move. Then there are like some demons in there, and you punch them and they'll just die. Punching them takes one move. And so there's just like, everything you do takes one move. So that's the puzzle. And a lot of the levels you're trying to get a key, go to the thing and unlock, and then then the demon chick is there, and you like introduce yourself, and then that's when the dating, quote unquote dating portion of it comes into play, because you've got decisions on your speech options. You will usually one or two choices, and you choose the wrong one and you lose the game and you have to start over. You have to do the level over.
Okay.
But it's super forgiving because it's just like you're right back into it. It's not like you die and it's not like wow, game over, restart, and it's like, no, it's just like bam, you're right back in. Do it again. You can just restart in the middle of a level. So you can just hit R and it'll just like pop you right back at the start with all your points. So it's tougher than I thought it would be. Some of the levels are very tough, and you can skip them if you just like, I want to play the game, I cannot figure out this level. Some of them are tough. The first few are like really easy. You're just like blasting through levels, picking up these demon chicks. It's really random. Like I don't even understand like the world that they're trying to build in this. You're like collecting these demon chicks, and turns out they love coffee and pancakes. And that's like all you have to offer them. Oh, and turn-based strategy games for some reason. That's always an option. They want to play turn-based strategy games, eat coffee, and make pancakes with you. I don't really understand that, but that's what it is. You go through these like simple puzzles. So, like the concept is simple, but the execution, some of them are very, very hard. And so I had fun with it. Like I didn't beat it. I skipped a couple levels that I was like, I can't figure this out. I didn't want to go in and like look up how to do it. It's fun. It's for a free to play game. It's fun.
Yeah, why is it free? What's the idea?
I don't know.
There?
There's no like way to spend money besides you can buy the art book and pancake recipe.
It's really weird.
I don't know why it's free to play. There wasn't like a way to spend money in the game, but it's really forgiving because you can just skip the levels just to like collect your demon chicks. I think honestly, like, let's see, the top review, it says this man put his fetish into a game, made it free, and got artists to create tons of fan art and cosplay for it without paying a cent. An intellectual of this caliber is once in a lifetime. So I think it's just like this guy wanted to make this game and like put it out there, and it got this weird fan base that like loves the game and loves the demon chicks, and they're not like overly sexualized. If you look at the pictures, they're not like, oh yeah, boobs bouncing around and stuff like that. They're just like nerdy looking demon chicks. I don't know, and it's got this crazy fan base, but it's hard. Would I recommend everyone play it? Probably not. I mean, unless you really want to play like a puzzle game, it's pretty interesting. But like I said, some of the puzzles I got stuck on for a while. I was like, I'm almost there. I can figure this out. You'd sit there forever. One thing is, it was hard for me to visualize and count like through the moves, because like kicking a thing counts a move, and then like moving there. So I was like, hard for me to like visualize as I went through. I don't know, maybe that's just a me thing, but it was hard for me to like try to figure it out before doing the moves. So maybe that's why I struggled so much. But good game, clever. It's fun. It's a little funny. Your guy's really douchey, like Leisure Suit Larry level douchey.
That's funny because that's what the creator said. He was reminiscent of Leisure
Oh,
Suit
really?
Larry. Yeah, he said that he basically designed this to be like that. So
that's
funny. You would recognize that.
Yeah, so that's like that's what the character reminded me of. So anyways, would I recommend it? I mean, it's not like if you want to play a puzzle game, yeah, it's free, so play it. It's interesting. The puzzles are not like the best puzzles I've ever played. This isn't like buys you type of thing that they're like super clever. It's just like pretty basic puzzles that you try to figure out by moving blocks and getting in a position. Okay. So decent game. As far as a dating sim goes, it's just what I wanted, because I didn't want to play a visual novel dating sim. So it was fine. It fit the criteria. This was not my top 10 Dice of Destiny recommendations, but if you love demon chicks, go for it. If you love demon chicks, you've already played it.
Yeah, definitely. All right, that means we're gonna re-roll. Let's do what is this? What sided? 10-sided dice.
A 10
10-sided dice.
Okay. I'll be
So-
1 through 5.
Okay, and I will be the other ones. It's a 0, so that's
you.
me.
That's a 10.
Damn.
Woo-hoo.
Right, I'm gonna
19.
roll.
Here it goes.
Oh yeah, give me that 19. 20.
Oh, we did, what was 20 again?
So
We did
close.
something.
It's a backlog or whatever game I want to fucking play.
Oh,
Thank
yeah. It's
God.
just like play whatever you want, but you
I
got to play
just gotta
something
play
new.
whatever I want.
Got to play something new. That's it.
So JD rolls a backlog, and price doesn't matter on that.
Oh, with the 20 roll. Oh, JD got a freebie. Like, just play whatever
Yeah.
game you want to play. If there's a game on your radar, play it.
Yeah, because we had to make up for the 1 and the 19, which are both kind of rough. What's so close to that 19 though?
I thought with your reaction, I thought you got it. I one of these days.
I haven't hit a nat 20 though since we started the Dice of Destiny.
So
Ever.
There you go.
So this is really good.
Play what you want. Play what you want.
All right. So that's it. That's a longie. That's to make up for the shorties earlier.
That's look. I knew it'd go a little long with the some of the news stories were long, but also we love Planet Crafter so much.
Yeah, we should have budgeted that it was going to be.
It doesn't matter.
Episode Drome. All right. Well, to play us out, we've got some music from Helltaker.
The music's
know.
fantastic.
It's
The
good?
music's great. It's very good.
Nice. Okay. Well, enjoy that. I'm JD. Oh, thanks to everyone that dropped by and hung out on our video. Guys,
Yeah, we
we're
had a few
always
people come in,
we
hang
stream on YouTube and Facebook, I think. Snorgle, Abby, Jeff dropped by to say what up. We stream generally on Sunday nights, pretty late. But
I got kids. I got to put them to bed. So
yeah, I got dogs and a
just chewing
hungry
stuff
wife.
up.
I'm always feeding everyone.
It's a late
Anyway, so come hang out, subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Facebook, and you can come see us record live and watch us dance to all the cool bumpers that Peterson makes. All right. I'm JD, logging off.
And this is Peterson going AFK.